There we go. Now you can hear me. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Comic Book Fights. I'm your host today, Izzy Verse NYC, and we got our great showdown. It's the Vampiric Branch Showdown. I think that's what I called it, and I called it that just because. So it doesn't really matter, but we got some great fighters. We got some great topics. We're gonna go really quickly as much as we possibly can for this one. So with that said, let's welcome in our fighters as we always do. We welcome them into the party, and here we go.
Welcome to the party, pal.
What's going on, Beckerman and Actual Dracula? You two guys are going in for a fight. You guys ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Yeah. Drac, just a heads up. I explained it to Izzy beforehand. Battling the flu tonight, but we're gonna make this happen. If the camera goes off, I apologize. I'll be right back.
So Beckerman's having two fights at the same time.
Right. Well,
all right.
All
right, guys.
It's a decent excuse, I suppose.
I guess so, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm not undead. I just feel like it.
Let's go and say what's up to the guys in the chat. Starting off, believe it or not, it's not La Cruz's. It's Kyle saying hi. Look at what's up, Kyle. Also, we got K-pop junkie in the house. Yo, K-pop, how you doing? Jay Margolis is also in this house. Kenneth Burr, welcome everybody. Hi to everyone. Las Cruces, there he made it. Hello from Nuevo Mexico. So he made the list. Yeah, can't wait for this beatdown. Yeah, place your bets, guys. Place your bets. Do vampires enjoy ranch dressings with their meals? That's a question? I guess that's a question for you, Dracula.
Is it directed towards me? Not particularly. The only time I might is with hot wings, but then I'm more of a blue cheese guy. So,
but it's not blue. Yeah. Why is it called blue cheese anyway?
It's got blue cheese in it.
But why is it?
Why is blue cheese called blue cheese?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what the rules are for this battle. Each fighter has 1 minute to present their pick. Their opponent will have 1 minute to present the rebuttal. Then afterwards is a free-for-all discussion debate where the fighters engage in all-out war. Each fighter will have 1 minute closing statements, and the winner for each round is selected by the live stream viewers. So if you guys are watching in the live stream, you guys get to pick the winners for each round. And let me share with you what the rounds are. It's going to be 4 rounds in total. Round 1 and 2, each fighter has a pick, and we have some amazing questions, guys. It's going to be a really good one. And in round 3 is picked by the YouTube poll, which finally we have an answer, which is the topic, and you're going to know when we get there. And then the last part, which is I think is the most fun part, is the final round. When I will pick 5 sudden death questions, and we'll roughly do it within 2-minute rounds, in which they are going to come up with their answers on the spot. The catch is the first person that says the answer gets the answer. So if you both have the same answer, it doesn't work that way. You got to pick. You got the first person that says it gets the answer. So you guys are ready to fight?
I'm ready.
All right. So in the words of Miles Beckerman, are you ready?
I'm ready. Alive? I'm ready for him to catch these soft hands.
All right. So let's hear it from Miles himself.
Let's get it on.
All right. Let's get it on. So the first question, first round is the questions given to us by Actual Dracula. And his question was, who has the best comic book costume? All right. So that's going to be the question. So Actual Dracula, you're going to go first. You're going to give us our pick. So there you go. Just like that. We're going to begin the timer, and then you get started. So go ahead and tell us who's your pick.
Okay, so every superhero or supervillain, for that matter, needs a great costume. And the best costume of all time in comic books is Batman. It's as simple as that. I mean, first up, he just looks awesome. He's supposed to be a giant bat and strike fear into the hearts of criminals, which he does rather effectively. But it's not just about looking good. You got to have some utility. It's got to be utilitarian, and he's got that in spades. I mean, he's got a goddamn utility belt with all kinds of doohickeys and gags and what have you. And and obviously the costume changes over the years, but no matter what, he's still essentially Batman. It's an iconic costume, and no matter what, whether it's black or gray and blue, it's the best. It's Batman 2-1-0.
All right, time's up. So there you have it. It's actual Dracula's pick is Batman. Becker, I know your pick.
Here.
You're everybody with your pick, and you
Okay.
also get a minute. So go ahead and share your pick now.
Well, my pick is Superman, the only costume that is more iconic than Batman. It sure as heck doesn't have a really helpful fanny pack on it. It doesn't have a lot of gadgets, but that symbol, that S symbol, has become a symbol of hope the world round. It obviously the most recognizable of all superheroes, no matter where you go, every country, every continent, they know Superman. And it just represents the best of us. I even in the long path of my life where I didn't read Superman, you got to catch the feels when you see that costume in a movie going across the sky. It fills me with hope, and I know it does for a lot of other people, and that's why people get that symbol on that costume tattooed. It means a lot to a lot of people, and I just think it means hope. And I like it, and that's why I think it's the best.
All right, Superman versus Batman. The two
That's
biggest...
never happened before.
Exactly. So let's
First
get
time.
it's the dawn of justice. Begin the fighting. You guys, time to debate.
I mean, look, you're not wrong. The Superman
Yeah, so
costume
I'm
and
right.
symbol
We've
is
agreed.
iconic.
Now we'll just move on.
But the
Thank you, Drag.
I would argue a much better, much more iconic symbol is the bat symbol, which you can find in Batman's costume, actually. So,
Yeah, I have to disagree with you. I think the bat symbol does mean that it's cool, but it's not the best. Superman symbol. People, I mean, honestly, I'm trying not to go too into the feelings, but I know multiple cancer survivors that have gotten that symbol tattooed on their arms, families, because it does mean hope and it means the best.
okay,
Of humanity.
I see.
So what do you say, Drac, to that? Can you beat cancer with Batman's logo?
How
And can you wear
how
your
much
undies on the
how much
outside?
time does Batman have to prepare? Would be my rebuttal to that. Eventually, I don't know.
Yeah, Batman's basically a meta-human at planning. But
That's true.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
see a plan that can beat this costume. Superman's is the best.
Except for Batman's. I mean,
You started off by saying that you thought it was the best, so I agreed with you.
I said it was iconic. I didn't say it was the best. Batman's is the best. Also, what's scarier than a giant bat? Maybe a giant spider, but Spider-Man didn't go that route. He just went with blue and red, like Superman.
Yeah, so even other great costumes copy Superman.
Batman does have all kinds of things in his
I think
utility
more
belt.
copy Batman, probably. Yeah. All kinds of different repellents, I would think. Everyone knows the shark repellent. That's famous. But
Oh, that's the best one, man. You can't go wrong with shark.
insect, like mosquito repellent is good.
Briefly talk about Batman's gimmicks. My favorite will always be the bat catapult. Not because of the idea of just flinging yourself downtown to stop a crime, but when he does it, one of the thugs of Burgess Meredith, the Penguin, goes, "Here's the twang," and says, "That sounds like the bat catapult." If you've been in crime long enough that you can identify the bat catapult, you should probably get out of crime.
So
Well,
here's my question.
This just goes towards Batman's costume being better, I'd say.
Okay, so we got Batman's costume. Now you mentioned the utility belt. Superman doesn't have a utility belt,
No.
but he is wearing a belt. Is there a reason for the belt?
Hold his pants up. Keep the undies from riding
Get
up
the onions. So both of them have dealt with different iterations. Now, Dracula, what's your best iteration of the Bat costume? And then Beckerman, you could share yours with Superman.
There's a lot. I do like just the classic Bat costume. I like the Neil Adams costume, the Graham Blue, that era. But my favorite's probably Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller's, especially when it's just gray with the big black back. That's probably my favorite. The short ears on the cowl I like as well. But there's so many iterations I love. That's why it's the best. I kind of like them all.
What about you, Beckerman? What kind of Superman costume do you do? The original?
For comic books, I like the Kurt Swan. Also, the Neil Adams deserves mention. For movies, Reeve.
Yeah, and the Neil Adams one does come across as the most iconic because of Christopher Reeves, right? It may not be the first, but it seems to be the most iconic out of all of them, right? It's very basic blue with the undies.
That's the superhero movie. I mean, that costume just exploded off the screen. The colors on it, I mean, blew my mind as a kid, at least.
All right, sounds good. And we got a lot of good people. We got Maury Biggie Shack in the house. Swan is the GOAT. Oh, look at that. Cliff is already starting to say Superman is it? So let's take this opportunity now. We're gonna do our last minute rebuttals. We're gonna start with actual Dracula since you started it off. You get a minute to explain why Batman is better than Superman.
Okay, well, first off, we're just gonna go with costumes because Batman, who's better, Batman or Superman, be here all day. But just strictly costumes, Batman's is better. Just first of all, just use your eyeballs. That will tell you immediately it's a better costume. As I was saying, throughout all the years from, since the character was created up until today, Batman's costumes changed a lot more than Superman's. Sure, I'll give you that. But I'd say all of those iterations had something good about them, and we're always still Batman. You could always tell it was Batman. I think when you try and change Superman's costume too much, it's they just tend to mess it up. It doesn't look very good because it's not as good as Batman's costume.
All right, Beckerman, you're up. Why Batman over Superman?
All right, well,
Superman over Batman.
Superman over Batman. What I'm going to use is Drac's own argument. Iconic. Superman's. I agree with Drac. It's a more iconic costume. Does Batman's costume look cool? Sure, it does, and I've enjoyed it for years. But Superman is the superhero, and that costume it just represents so much to so many. The word hero, I think of that costume. He's the first superhero, and the costume has become an icon the world around. I mentioned how it represents hope to people, how people get the Superman symbol tattooed that have been through hard times. And I really do think it's the best costume. You don't have to like Superman more than Batman to admit that. Batman drools in this scenario.
All right, there you have it, guys. Wow. You guys picked the two biggest dudes in the block.
The two of the oldest superheroes.
Well, yeah, one was created out of the other one. So here's how it's gonna work, guys. As I mentioned before, the winner is going to be picked by the chat group. So as of right now, guys, go ahead and place your bets. Beckerman for Superman or actual Dracula for Batman. And go figure that actual Dracula will pick a bat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It just makes sense here. He's on brand, right? So let's get things started. Beckerman, I'm going to start with you. Tell me a little bit about what's going on in your neck of the woods. So as we wait for people to give us their picks.
You can see me on the Comic Vikings channel every Tuesday morning on the Hucklebuck that we release. And I hang out on Bleeker's Church on Saturdays or Sundays. Man, I feel terrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude.
No,
I
you're
wish
fine.
I could do something.
Sundays with Bleeker, and then Thursday night, Papa Wheelie's channel for wrestling talk.
That's right. We got some good wrestling talk going on, right? SummerSlam just passed, and we got some more stuff with AEW on its way. So that's gonna be cool. We got. It looks like I'm trying to gather as much, but I'm starting to see here. Here's another one. I've counted 7 so far, and there's another one. Another one just came in. All right, so I got 5. Well, here comes another one. It just came in. They're flowing in. They're flowing in, guys. They're flowing in. All right, and we got a tie right now, but I think we just broke the tie. Our winner for the first round is none other than Actual Dracula with Batman. Congratulations.
Huzzah. Yeah. Told you.
Well, I have
agree
to,
with me.
I have to say, man, that was a tough choice. Now, the way I look at it, if you look at iconic, then I go Superman route, right? Because Superman is, I think, is more iconic, but easily the most recognizable. Like, there's 2 American icon symbols that people know more than everything. One is Mickey Mouse, the other is Superman. With that said,
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Right? With that said, I do believe Batman is the more badass of the 2. But it has so many iterations. I think the classic blue and gray is a great one, but also, like you said, the Frank Miller one is also, he's got to so many different versions. So it's like, it's hard, where Superman, for the most part, with some minor tweaks here and there, has stayed pretty much the same.
And when but when they have changed Superman, it hasn't always been well received, right? So
yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Cavill.
You don't mess with the icon.
Yeah.
I'm happy where they're going with the new one, because I don't know. I'm a fan of the trunks. You know what I'm saying? I like it feels right with the trunks. Even though Batman has had the trunks, he's done the look with the trunks too.
Yeah,
I don't miss the trunks on Batman, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he doesn't need them. They're not as key to his costume as they are to Superman's.
Batman is Boba Fett. and to Caps, Superman, if you got the right writer, Superman is not boring. That's how I feel about Supes. All right. And it says, Wolf is like, I love the blue and gray. Yeah, the blue and gray is awesome. All right. So that is round 1. It goes to Drax. Congratulations on that first one. It's now time to do round 2. And this one's, guys, when Beckerman shared this one, I went, oh man, this is an interesting one. So we're going to talk about a subject matter that obviously for Beckerman is a really important subject matter. So round 2 is, what should determine the value of original comic art? That's the question. So it starts with Beckerman. So Beckerman, you're gonna lead us off with your 1 minute take on the answer, and then Actual Dracula, you can do your rebuttal. So go for it.
Wow, and what a loaded topic lately is, as we see Jim Lee prices are an all-time high, and so many people felt so many different ways about it. We might have the very first page sell for $7.5 million potentially. New Mutants 98 cover has that price tag on it, whether or not somebody will pay for it. And that's the big one for me that makes this question. It is the market. The people buying it decide. You know, I remember a time where blue lines were next to worthless. You could get them for $10-20. And for those who don't know, that's the inks. But anyway, now that there are artists who get $300, $400, $500 for them. So ultimately, the buyer decides what the price of something's going to be. The market will determine.
All right, cool.
And I've got 2 seconds.
And there you have it. The market will determine the price. So, Actual Dracula, it is your turn. What is your answer to that question?
I mean, this is not necessarily straightforward to maybe most people, because art is subjective. And, you know, as any sort of a collectible commodity, yeah, you can make the argument that the market determines the value. But, you know, it doesn't have to be like that. Let's just break it down right here. Let's get down to brass tacks, and that is what determines the value of the art. How many marks did the artist make on the page? It's as simple as that. Just think of it as someone driving rivets into the wing of an airplane during World War II, and perhaps they get, you know, if they were getting paid per rivet. So you make 500 marks on the page, you get $500. 1,000 marks on the page, $1,000. 20,000 marks on the page, $20,000. 30,000 marks on the page, $25,000, because that's where the discount kicks in.
You went over.
All right,
There's
guys.
some sort of penalty for that?
I think we're good.
I'm pretty sure I said
we're just living lawless now. No
zero.
rules. Can I just
Zero mark.
This rebuttal is riveting. All right, guys, battle it out.
Okay, so Drac is talking nonsense with this. However many marks. We've had big money pages with very little going on the page. I'll go to a comic book you've already mentioned tonight, Drac. That would be Dark Knight Returns 1, which was acetate laid on acetate laid on acetate cut out to make the Batman that's either jumping away or jumping towards the viewer of the comic book. That sold for huge money and probably didn't take that much effort.
Yeah, so I think someone overpaid for that because, you know, I don't know what page you're talking about
rivets in
specifically, but it's probably not that many.
Rivetless.
I don't think he made that many marks on the page, if I'm being completely honest. Whereas you look at something like, I'd say one of my favorite artists right now, and who fully deserves every penny he's getting, is someone like, say, Ian Bertram, who makes many, many marks on his pages, and he should be paid handsomely for that. He should be getting that Jim Lee money, in my opinion, because look at all the marks he's making. That's his hands are got to be so sore at the end of the day. And Frank Miller's hands probably don't hurt at all because he barely put any lines on that page.
Yeah, not a lot of effort going on there.
But the blacks on the Frank Miller's are beautiful, especially when you're talking about the Sin City stuff.
But it's like one giant mark. I would count it as one. He gets $1 for that.
He gets one mark. Well, if it's anything like his Wolverine right now, I don't know what we're talking about there. So
I would have to say, as an art buyer, I've been collecting art since 2001, and I've watched the prices skyrocket, and it is definitely being driven by more people with more money going after fewer pages. When I first got into the hobby, you could get a John Byrne X-Men page for $800 to $1,000, and now they go for like a minimum of $35,000. So,
but
yeah,
isn't that time that causes
determines that?
Isn't that a little bit of the amount of time that's going out there when it comes to pricing and things like that?
Well, and I just think because items are becoming more scarce, the art people are collecting is becoming more narrow. For modern stuff, everyone's chasing the covers. For the older stuff, it's the legendary artists.
Okay, and then go ahead, Actual.
I was just going to say, AI has made it so that an artist doesn't have to make any marks on a page, 0 marks. So, you know, invest now in the pages with as many marks as possible, because pretty soon those won't exist at all.
So, Actual Dracula, I'm gonna go with you for a second here. You're an artist.
Yes.
So how would you
Allegedly.
allegedly? Well, he did say earlier that he was.
Look,
gonna
I'm
do
not saying I
nothing
make the
but-
most marks.
So
I'm
are
just saying
you
I make some marks
So
on the
are
page.
you? Do you make enough marks to make sure your pages are of significant value?
I
Kyle
mean,
is
that
loving this.
depends, right?
He's loving this answer.
This is what every artist has to determine this for themselves. You know, how much effort they're going to put into a particular piece versus, you know, it's time is money, right? So if I got an hour and I only make 3 marks on the page in that hour, I'm wasting.
Can we
my
just
time.
go to the next round?
I want.
I have had vomiting and diarrhea today, and this is the worst thing that's happened to me.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, it's as valid an argument as the
I don't
market.
blame you, Comic Cats.
Yeah.
People to sleep.
This is the shit.
That's the goal. That's what. Have you not seen this show before?
Okay, guys, it's time to place your arguments. Becca, go for it.
I don't think marks are as important as what people are willing to pay for something. I don't even know how to debate Track on this because he's gone in a completely different direction. I kind of blame Izzy because he did tweak my question because my original question was like a paragraph long.
Yeah, we had
and I
keep
wanted
it
to
as-
discuss different mediums of art, but because Drac is an artist, I wanted to really debate mediums. And we didn't get that. We got this question, and Drac lost his damn mind. So
I'll tell you why
mine's
later.
the only. I honestly believe mine's the only answer that makes sense and treated it seriously. So yeah, market over artist and marks or whatever nonsense Drac said.
Do you need more time?
No, I'm gonna give it to Drac.
So the time he sold earlier is now his time. So Mark,
Hey,
actual Dracula, tell me a little bit about the marks and why they're more
I'll
important.
take it, and I'll take it, and my nonsense, as Beckerman puts it. Look, if you want to, I'm actually would have liked to have gone deeper into discussion over different mediums. For example, if I make a mark with a pencil, that's maybe $5. If I make it with ink, that costs a little bit more, right? Because these things cost money. Different kinds of paints, watercolor, maybe a bit the same as ink. Acrylics, maybe a bit more. Oil paints, generally a bit more expensive. So I'm going to be charging most if I'm using oil paint. But the whole number of marks thing still applies to that, obviously, of course. And the market.
What is the marks or the market?
As you put it, that's what. Hey, where do you think the word market comes from? All the marks that are made is what the market. I'm done. All right.
I apologize to the YouTube community for this round.
So, because this is a game, because we have to do this. Hey, what's up, Steven? So, guys, tell me who you pick, as if we don't know who hit it on the mark. So, actual Drag Lads, we're waiting for everybody to put there. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in your neck of the woods.
I just explained it basically. That's what.
Yeah, this is definitely a wax answer right there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
In terms of what's going on my
Thank you,
channel,
Lone Wolf.
not a whole lot these days. I've been very busy with my mark making. Actually, yes, making art. I have been doing that a lot.
I don't know what's the answer. This is a wolf.
That's
is
my
it Beckerman
answer,
or is it gonna
I don't know what that means either. Mark it down. Mark it down as a win for me.
I'll pick
right.
Drac is getting points. I can't.
Oh, you better believe it. I'm racking them up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
2-2.
So far, You know what?
I think if you go up above, I got a couple of votes from people who
Yeah,
like to make
there's a couple of votes already in, so we're too many marks down right. All right, so there is. Oh, Wolf just gave us the answer. Our winner is gonna be none other than not the marks, but
all right.
it
Well,
goes to Beckerman.
That got crazy.
I just don't
sorry,
think people really understand what I was trying to say.
Please.
No, they understood
They got it.
and they left.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
not gonna lie. So let's be transparent, guys.
mhm.
Actual Dracula had pretty much the same answer as Beckerman. So
Yes,
the way
originally.
the way, and this is why I do it privately, right? So you guys answer them privately. It's because of the fact that first of all, we want to keep it as secretive from each other, right? But in the situation where you said something and then someone said it, then obviously I have to say, hey, you got to come up with a different one. And sorry, Rich, I can't. You got to ask. Beckerman came up with the question, not me.
I had a paragraph of a question.
He did, and I had to.
Izzy was like, "Yeah, we need to trim this down," and I agreed with him. Drac, what would you have thought if we had talked about the market for blue lines? I wanted to get into that discussion as to whether or not.
Yeah.
Well, because I would have liked to have taken it from the idea that even though they're considered to be less by the buyer's market, to me, you're getting the finished product. What's the thing that goes off to the printer?
The inks.
The inks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I wanted to get into a real discussion with an actual artist.
Yeah. So
in an unactual Dracula.
But no talk about Mark it. Okay. Don't worry, we know about this one. So the real thing is, and I'm with you. I think the market's very interesting. But there was someone that did answer with the word the artist. So is it the artist or is it the market? I probably would have picked that one here. As of today, we all, for those who know, a Jim Lee drawing is demanding some serious bucks these days, right? But
20 to 30,000 for a commission.
Yeah, but it's a commission, right? It's not the same as the original art.
No.
So the original art, we're talking about the actual pages here. So what if you had an original page of, we talked about him earlier, Kurt Swan or Neil Adams? What would a value of a book like that be?
What if the page that is the highest selling of all time, more so than a Frazetta, is going to be Rob Liefeld?
That's possible, right?
It's possible.
And why is that? Because Deadpool's on demand.
Yeah,
plain and simple.
And I mean, as Beckerman will attest, as someone who collects a lot of original art, and especially if you're talking interior pages, who is on those pages determines the value as well. Does this page have Deadpool on it? Does it have a character on it, or is it just side characters? Right. That's going to absolutely affect the value.
Well, you look at let's go back to Jim Lee for a second. Is his original Batman run be worth more than his All-Star Batman run? If you guys, his All-Star Batman run with Frank Miller as opposed to the Hush storyline, which one of the two is going to have?
Excuse me for a minute.
Go ahead, Beckerman. So we'll talk.
That's a good question,
right?
I mean, I feel like those Hush pages would go for a lot, right? So,
but you have the iconic pages of the Batman Robin storyline. So that's what it is, because again, we know page by page, the one that's going to get more demand is going to be the splash page, right? The money shot page, as we said, right? Cover page or things like that. Those are going to be more in demand than, let's just say, some panels on a page. Even though the panels are great, that definitely affects the art. So, Beckerman, how we doing, my man?
Hanging in there, man. Hanging in there. Flu is no fun.
Well, now this is a topic that I am super excited to hear, because I think the answers you guys are going to hear are pretty cool. So, round 3 is, what is the most shocking plot twist in comics. So we're in a tie, so we're going back to actual Dracula for the first one here. Actual Dracula, you get to go first. What is the most shocking plot twist in comics?
Okay, I thought this was a good topic. There's many great plot twists to choose from, but I gotta go with one of my favorites. It's been one of my favorites for a long time, and and this plot twist is one of the many reasons why this is considered one of the greatest comics written of all time, and that would be the twist would be the ending, the big reveal at the end of The Watchmen. And you know what? I love this plot twist so much that, you know what? There could be people watching right now that haven't read The Watchmen yet. There's a first time for everyone, so I'm not going to spoil it. I don't want to spoil that twist for anybody, but I will say, you know, ultimately, you know, there's a lot of themes and commentary in Watchmen, but you know, the plot is it is a murder mystery, and this ending is one of the best.
Awesome.
Went over again.
Beckerman, go ahead. Tell them yours.
All right. Spoiler alert. If you are reading Fables currently, Legion of Comics, and you don't want to know this spoiled as to who the adversary is, stop watching right now. 1, 2. Geppetto being the adversary in Fables is and just the way that he gathered power by draining the Blue Fairy. That was one of the most shocking things I've read as an adult. I did read Watchmen as a kid. I didn't understand it as much. Later on, I grew to appreciate how wonderful it is. But as far as pure shock, as an adult, as a 19, I think I was about 19 I was in my 20s when that issue hit the stands, and I was blown away. Geppetto as the villain got me. And if you don't like Fables, I'd give it a chance. It was really good.
Oh, look at that, Bickerman! You're already lost. Oh boy,
I can't believe that anybody who's read Fables doesn't think that. To me, yeah, I'll go in my rebuttal and say why.
Okay, so let's go ahead. It's fight time. Let's go. Talk to me.
I mean, as far as rebuttal goes, I've only read, one Fables book, so I can't really speak to whether this is a great plot twist or not because I'm not familiar with it. But I do know that, as good as it might be, I just don't see it being better than The Watchmen. Because, it's The Watchmen. It's one of the greatest plot twists of all time in comics.
Beckerman?
That he stole from American flag?
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't make it...
My bad. That's not even the greatest plot twist Alan Moore has written. Miracle Man. Look up the bathroom scene. I was a lot more shocked during that and traumatized.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point.
For my price of admission, Fables, shocking moment. I almost did go with Miracle Man, but I didn't want to talk about bathroom sexual assault. So,
especially in this condition.
Yeah.
But let's face it, Fables is not it's not widely known as Watchmen is, right? However, everyone knows Geppetto. Who doesn't know Geppetto, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, Geppetto being the villain of the story, does that raise the flag on plot twists in general, or is just how he becomes a villain? Beckerman, you can tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and just the sheer act of brutality. So if you don't know the story of Fables, everybody's the surviving members of Fairy Tale Lands are hiding in New York City. They have been for a couple hundred years, and they all had to flee their native worlds because of a being called the Adversary, whose armies marched and destroyed and pillaged and controlled everything. And didn't seem to have much interest in Earth, but then he starts having agents show up. And the fabled creatures decide to resist, and they go to war. And during the course of this, you learn that Geppetto is the bad guy, and he basically started his path to becoming a dictator because he was lonely that Pinocchio kept going off on adventures.
Well, here's the thing for me. It's not much of a plot twist because I've always viewed Geppetto as a villain. I always thought
Drew Carey did it.
This creepy guy making little wooden boys come to life.
He made one in the beginning.
Right. Well, who knows how many there were. A lot of wooden skeletons in that closet.
They have their red control.
Old Wolf, that is so hilarious. You say that. That's actually a plot point at one point.
All right. But Drac, you know, you're welcome to spoil it. If people, I'm sorry, guys, if you haven't
you
read
gotta tell them
Watchmen,
what your plot twist
you got to tell the
is.
plot twist because
I mean, if you haven't read
spoiler
Watchmen, I guess, yeah, it's kind of on you
Spoiler
to read
alert.
Watchmen, and you should. Of course,
I don't think it's going to change the greatness of Watchmen, to be completely honest.
I mean, of course, as I said, the kind of overarching plot of this is a murder mystery because Rorschach has a theory that someone's killing costumed heroes, and someone is, and it turns out to be one of their own, the smartest man alive, Ozymandias, Adrian Veidt, is behind it all, and it's not that he's just murdering them because he's like a psychopath. He's got this grand vision, basically to save the world. So his reasons for it being part of that, I think, make it one of the best kind of plot twists or reveals in comics.
Yeah, and to that point, reading Watchmen, I read it a few times already.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think the reveal of him being the villain in the story was as important as the reasoning why.
As the reason why, exactly. Yeah.
Which made more it actually makes logical sense based on what was going on, with the Cold War going on and D-Day and all that, the clock, doomsday clock and all that stuff that goes along.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of part of it. Just because he was revealed as the villain didn't make it, oh my goodness. It was more like, he kind of makes sense.
Yeah, because I think you kind of like, it is kind of hinted at, I think, that, or at least I got the feeling that it could have been him. But yeah, exactly. It's his whole reason why, and basically the whole ending, the last couple chapters of that story, I think are just incredible. So yeah,
it's every day. It's
yeah,
exactly. So Beckerman, what do you got to say to that? I know the Geppetto thing is kind of along the same route as technically the good guy being the bad guy.
Except for they waited 40 issues to give it to you, and there were a lot of false leads because you had already seen the adversary to that point. So the part of why I would think it was shocking to me is I can usually, if you read enough comic books, you can see it coming, right? You usually get it a few pages before the big reveal. You're like, oh, they're about to tell me this guy is the bad guy, or this member of the team is the betrayer, or, whatever. It wasn't until I flipped the page where they revealed that the adversary was made of wood. I was like, oh shit, this is Geppetto. And
awesome.
it took me a minute. Also, I'm going to save that for our timed thing at the end.
All right. So speaking of our time thing, it's now time for our time thing. And we start with actual Dracula. You get a minute. Tell me why one more time, why Watchmen has the better ending, the better plot twist.
Yeah. I mean, really, ultimately, it's just a great cap to what is, I mean, Alan Moore packs a lot in 12 issues. And it's really kind of a totally unexpected direction. In a story like that, it could have easily just fallen apart, in hands of a lesser writer, I suppose. But yeah, no, it's for me one of the most satisfying endings, also because it's one where you go, the good guys don't win unless the bad guy really is the good guy. It really depends on your perspective of the whole situation. And, you agree with them or not. So.
All right. Your turn.
All right. Is my clock going?
It's going.
There we go. All right. So the question was most shocking plot twist. To me, I kind of saw, I saw earlier, I knew Ozymandias was the big bad before I got to that final reveal. And I think most people reading it probably did as well. Now, is Watchmen a better comic book, more iconic? Certainly. Is Alan Moore a better writer than Bill Willingham? Absolutely. Yeah, Alan Moore is probably my favorite writer. However, Fables, much more shocking move. Legion of Comics would agree, to the point where if I ever start talking Fables with him, he says, I haven't finished yet. I don't want to know who the adversary is. Don't ruin this for me. Becker, don't tell me. So I hope he's not watching this, because he'll be mad he's avoided it.
All right, everybody. There you have it. Watchmen versus Fables. You guys tell me who's your pick. In all fairness, man, my wife read Fables. She loved it. I think she did read the whole thing all the way through. So she, I was never a Fables guy. I didn't get into it like that, even though I heard a lot of good things. But look, Beckerman, you got a point. AR's, I think AR's going with Drax.
That'll be the only one I get. Thank you, Tony.
Right. So I think for what it's worth, if it was more iconic, I guess, maybe I think it might have stand out. Again, that's just me thinking. But like we talked about earlier with Watchmen, who doesn't talk bad? Who doesn't think Watchmen's good? Right. and if they do, I'm looking at you, Durs. You don't get it.
Durs hates Watchmen.
Well, he doesn't hate Watchmen. He doesn't understand it.
He doesn't like it.
Yeah, and I think part of it has to do with its aging. He
told me it's not as good as Vanish. So let's that's it.
I'm not gonna,
everyone's entitled to their opinions.
Yeah,
some of them are wrong.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. If I was to see him in person, he would get a slap.
Okay, I dare you condone
a Batman smack. You know what I'm saying? A Batman's Robin.
Yeah.
How dare you say that? Ooh, that's a rough one, man. Anyway, guys, go ahead. We got 2 right now for Beckerman. We got 1 for Drax. Beckerman has Fables. Drax has Watchmen. Ooh, Beckerman, you're currently leading. We got 11 people currently watching on the live stream right now. So go ahead, guys. Tell me your answers. I wasn't able to do it. I do see Team Drax from Kyle, so I'll give Kyle that point there. I'm still on that with Durs, man. I'm like, Durs, do you know what you just read? And he's like, I don't get it. And I think it's because he's been desensitized by what came afterwards. You know what you understand what I mean? By
that's possible. I mean, I first read Watchmen when I was 13 years old, so
yeah. And at that time it was still kind of fresh, I would say. Yeah. And then today it feels like any other story. Like if Watchmen would have to come out today, it will probably be the same. People won't look at it the same way. What do you think, Beckerman? Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think there is so much. To me, Watchmen came out at a time where the dystopian story, everybody was racing to get those in. You had American Flag come out a few years earlier. That inspired Dark Knight and Watchmen. And remember, both sides worked at the same company. They were looking at each other's pages. That's a thing.
Frank and Alan.
Frank did a rewrite based on Alan Moore.
So they were thinking the same thoughts.
Yeah, they were. And I think they were both wanting to tell their version of what they liked about American Flag, and they wanted to tell their dystopian future.
I mean,
and like I said, I really do view that Watchmen is a better story. I just, as a guy that's been reading comics for a long time, I rarely get surprised, and Fable surprised me.
Yeah. Right. Well, I understand what you were saying, Izzy, about Watchmen. But the thing is, I think it still holds up. And
no, I'm not saying it doesn't hold up. I'm not saying,
yeah, which is why Durs has no excuse for not liking it.
Well, I think it's the impact.
I love Durs.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
And I love Durs too. I'll tell him in his face. But I think it's more the impact of it all, because a lot of things that followed are trying to follow the Watchmen model in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's part of the reason why, I guess, when Durs read it, which was not that long ago, he read it within the last couple of years, it didn't have that same impact as it does for the rest of us, because it's kind of a story you read already, even though it's the original. It's the one that the other one's inspired. You get what I'm saying? So as crazy as this sound, guys, and trust me when I say I am a little shocked, our winner is Beckerman.
Is that how you fight, right? Like this?
That's it.
So, guys, I'm a little curious why Beckerman won over Drax, because me personally, I'm sorry, Beck, I would have picked Watchmen. It was just, but
it was definitely a good one.
Definitely a good one, man. I'm a little shocked by that one, but I guess,
like I said, I never read Fable, so if I had, I might be on Beckerman's side, because I just don't know.
Just ruined the best surprise of the book.
It's one of those things I might still just read eventually, just because, even though I know how it ends.
Yeah,
and it doesn't end there. That's issue 40. It goes for hundreds.
No, it's still going. It's still going. Right. It's still going today. So they have it, guys.
Mainly because Bill Willingham got a divorce.
So everybody on the live stream, it is now your turn to do the live stream questions. So the way we're gonna do it, I'm gonna take 5 questions from everybody in the live stream. If I deem it necessary, we'll put it into the fight, and you guys get to pick your answers based off those questions. So, guys, if you haven't put your questions in yet, go ahead and do it now. Just don't hold my belt.
I won't do it to you, Pat.
All right, guys. So, let's take a look here. There was another question that came in, because it was a close race between the plot twist and another question. So we'll give the chat a few minutes to come up with. Well, we'll give the chat a couple of seconds. I don't want to give it a few minutes. That'd be too long. All right. So I think. Okay.
Ooh, so our first books, because I do have a feeling about this.
All right. So Immortal Biggie Shack gives us the question: plastic or paper?
For comic books, I like paper.
Okay, so we got paper versus plastic. So Drac, that's how this one works. You get plastic.
I get plastic. I'm not sure what is actually referring to.
Well,
but
you did Mark. So
when you buy comic books, do you prefer a paper bag or a plastic?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The correct answer is paper.
Yeah, right. But I guess I can't say paper because you already said it.
Exactly. So defend it. So go ahead, Beckerman. Go ahead, say it.
Oh, I can defend plastic.
All right, go ahead. Defend
one word, rain. You bring that bad boy outside. What's going to protect your books more, paper or plastic bag? Plastic.
Oh, see, that's why you do paper, and then you shield it with your body, and you run to your car. I've done that. I'm
curious to think if that's exactly what Biggie is talking about, or if he's talking about credit card or.
I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea.
I actually liked it though. There's just something about that brown paper bag. Like, I don't think anybody gave you your comics. Now, Izzy, Drac, I'm not sure your age or when you started going to shops, but in the late 80s, I don't remember anybody giving me a plastic bag at a shop for comic books.
Oh,
it was always the brown paper bag, right, Izzy?
I still get the brown paper bag because when you go to
Yeah.
and personally, when you go to Midtown Comics, where I mostly shop, it goes right in perfectly. It fits in nicely, snug in. You can fold it up, and you take it with you.
Yeah, certain shops I have got paper bags, but for the most part, it's
Now, I will say, as far as
yeah.
plastic bags, I do like the free comic book day bag.
right. Yeah,
That's a better
That's-
quality plastic.
It
This
It's not a heavier
stuff.
plastic. Yeah, well,
Mhm.
that's a garbage bag, really. But it has a handle.
Comics
It's the
came in
right
this.
side. That's pretty cool. So the daydreams still tie paper bags. So we got one for
Daydreams
paper
is where my
bag.
Hulk 181 came from
What's up,
in-
shop for
in
comics?
1993.
So So guys, you guys make the choice. Is it paper or plastic? 3 good nerds. And while we wait for paper or plastic, let's come up with the next question: is who had the better villain story arc? So we're not talking about the villain here. We're talking about the better villain story arc. That's actually a really interesting question. So thank you, Adventurers Joe, for that one. And then our next question
me?
is going to be a holiday question.
I would say Magneto for me.
Okay, Magneto's story arc. Drax, what'd you say?
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Wow.
Holocaust survivor, freedom fighter.
Jack
Never
is
really
like, "Damn
like
it."
my version of Magneto's not a bad guy. He's a freedom fighter.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with I'll go with another X-Men villain. I'll go with Apocalypse.
Oh, okay. So
All
Apocalypse versus Magneto. Go for it.
Yeah, he's basically a god man, and he wants to sort of like Thanos, kind of restore the balance, make sure only the strong survive. And I think that's something we can all agree on. Magneto had similar views. He just, I don't know, kind of a little bit more wishy-washy, and sometimes he was with the X-Men. So
It depends on the story arc we're talking, honestly. And I would go
Right.
later Magneto, where he's less of a supremacist, which never made sense to me, being a Holocaust survivor, like to go down that path.
Yeah.
You've seen the worst in people.
It makes
Yep.
sense with Apocalypse. You know his deal, and it makes sense, right, with Apocalypse.
Yeah, he basically became in love with the smell of his own farts and thought he was a real god.
Yeah.
Well, he is an immortal, so
Yeah.
He's
Also,
external.
external immortal, yeah.
Apocalypse also understands and appreciates the power of a good nap. He'll gets a little tired. He goes to sleep for a little bit.
But with
How did,
Apocalypse, he eventually wins, right? That's his thing.
Yeah. Well, in Age of Apocalypse, Magneto rips him in half while being a hero. Magneto.
Right.
Age of Apocalypse
So
is
the
hero.
problem is Magneto doesn't know if he's a hero or a villain. Apocalypse knows.
Which makes it a great arc. I don't know.
Yeah. As
You know
far as
who else
arc,
had an arc? Noah.
Right. Yeah.
all right, guys, is it gonna be Apocalypse or Magneto? Go ahead and make your choices. Now we got a couple of people. We have Doom, who has an excellent story arc. I think Doom is one of the best story arcs out there. Joker's story. What I like about Joker's story arc is that we're not sure what it is, but we know a few of them. Right?
When we thought it was going to be best villain, Drac, who did you have picked?
Joker.
Ah,
Yeah.
I had picked Dr. Doom, actually. Biggie Shack
Yeah,
reminded
reminded
me of Doom there.
And we were
that's
that
who I
close,
had
man. We were about like a vote away from being different. Believe it or not, that's how close it was.
Ooh, Joseph.
we
can
still debate over
story
that.
arc of breaking the back.
We got Apocalypse versus Magneto, so it looks like Drac is getting a point right now because no one's voted for Beckerman's Magneto just yet. I think when it comes to and I agree with Magneto, I don't think Magneto's a villain. I think he's more of an anti-hero, but then again, it's depending on the time he was written. Because when he first came out, he was a straight up villain. Like
Right.
when he debuted in X-Men #1, he was a straight up villain. So, but as of today, I don't think he really is a villain anymore. I think today he's an anti-hero.
And it wasn't about villain. The question was villain story arc, correct?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. And that's what I was doing. I was picking the story arc of Magneto, kind of not because even as a hero, he's never like a great hero. Like he's very more like.
But he never
the
he
ends
never admits to
justify
it.
the means to.
Yeah, but he never admits to being a hero.
Magneto.
He clearly states that he ain't no hero.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And that's something about him, right?
Well,
Yeah,
he's doing what he thinks is right for his people, for mutant kind, as is Apocalypse. It's just that Apocalypse is way more extreme.
Well, in Apocalypse's case, as long as he's the leader.
Yeah,
he wants to be in charge. Yeah. Whereas I don't know if necessarily my story arc Magneto wants to be in charge.
Yeah, that's
I just
very
think
dependent.
He wants his people to prosper.
And it depends, and you're right on that. It depends on the writer. Some writers utilize it as long as Magneto's the leader, right? But some writers write Magneto as in he takes the role of leadership because, let's be honest, he's the one that came up with the idea in that way, right? So he is chosen to be a leader because he just develops those leadership qualities. So, good question.
Yeah, it does depend. Yeah.
Yeah, so
like because I didn't read much. I read a little bit of Hickman's whole Krakoa X-Men thing, but Apocalypse is very different in that. Yeah.
I don't count that version of Apocalypse.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's like Hickman's run is good. I think Hickman's run, that's a good question. Hickman's run is good up to a certain point. After it gets to that point, I'm like, I'm done with this. I want my old X-Men back.
If it ended after a year.
Yeah, it went too long. But then again,
I did like it though. There's definitely stuff I did.
I enjoyed the follow-up. I enjoyed the lead up to it. Like the whole Morgan the Tagger thing, I get it, but I'm like, but I like how they did it. I just wish it wasn't more enough.
I don't want my X-Men going to balls and talking diplomacy and taking over planets.
Yeah, that's where I lost it.
Yeah.
I want them to be the misfits that the world hates and fears
they're back at it now. All right. So with that said, Beckerman, you get that win as well. We got 4-1 at the moment. So actual Dracula, in order for you to tie, you need to win the next 3. So
there's 3 more.
G.I. Joe versus Transformers. Who wins?
Transformers.
Drac got that one.
Yeah.
All right, tell me why.
Why is Transformers better than G.I. Joe?
G.I. Joe?
Simple. They're giant robots that turn into cars and other vehicles and other things like dinosaurs. And G.I. Joe are just they're basically I don't want to say military
heroes.
They're not. They're essentially
they support you. You don't support the military.
Yeah, I mean they're a militia. They're a militia.
No, they're a military branch.
They are.
I don't know. I mean,
they're military branch.
And they had Sergeant
everybody.
Slaughter.
They did have Sergeant Slaughter.
They still do.
Okay, so you're on Team G.I. Joe. That's cool.
No, I am on Team Transformers. As great as Sergeant Slaughter is, they don't have Optimus Prime. They don't have Shockwave.
Optimus
they don't
Prime,
have...
who did not serve his country.
Right. Well, no,
that's not a country.
He served his planet, sir. His entire planet.
Draft dodger. Never signed up for NAM.
Guys, tell me who's winning. Tell me in the chat.
I mean, it's got to be Transformers, guys. Throw me a bone here. Come on. Really? You like
Yo
Joe
Joe
more
baby.
than
Yo Joe.
Okay, so I had an observation today that I never looked at before. And I want to know what you think. G.I. Joe a real American hero.
Yeah.
There's more than one.
Yeah.
Aren't
Well,
they,
originally G.I. Joe was just a single action.
it was the
figure,
toy, right? It was a single
Yeah.
toy, right?
G.I.
Action
Joe.
figure toy. It was. Look at this one. G.I. Joe is codename for America's highly trained special forces. Its purpose, the Vet Cobra, a ruthless
and you don't want
organization
to mess with
determined to
Sergeant
rule.
Slaughter. He's got that Cobra clutch.
Well, but that's the thing. I mean, G.I. Joe has to fight Cobra, who are just a bunch of terrorists, essentially, whereas Transformers are going up against the Decepticons, arguably a way more dangerous group of terrorists, So,
all right. You know what? I'm giving it to you, Drax. I'm sorry. I got to give Transformers their love, man. I love G.I. Joe and all that, but Single Joe is my G.I. Joe Go Transformers. There you go. All right. Okay, we'll do this last one here because I know Beckerman needs a break.
This day.
Halloween or Christmas?
Ooh.
I'll let you pick. How about that?
Honestly, for family reasons, I'm going to pick Christmas.
I was going to pick Halloween for the same reason.
All right, go for it.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I probably would have picked Christmas, but I got to go with Halloween.
So let's have that fight, man. Who wins?
So Christmas to me is the better holiday. My family lives spread out across the country. We all do get together for Christmas. It's a big event every year, and I think it is for most people, and if you got the little ones, which I don't, but what's better than Santa Claus and presents under the tree? And for me, I get to see all my cousins and nephew and family members.
I can tell you what's better than that. Dressing up like a monster and getting free candy.
Of course, panhandling door to door appeals to you, Drac. While dressed up as a vampire, I'm sure. Drac reminds me of Bela Lugosi, but not like Bram Stoker's. More like Mother Riley meets the vampire when Bella was all morphined out, and his brain was addled by the drugs. That's who you remind me of, Drac.
Yeah, you may have a point there. Yeah.
Don't let me do you like that, Drac. I love you, man.
This is what happens when you celebrate Halloween over Christmas. Some of that candy.
Better sweaters.
It's a little strong.
Christmas too.
Yeah.
So, Joe, say Christmas is a better holiday because that time we found. Some people beg to differ. Some people don't want the family around, and they have to have them.
That's
I'm
true.
sappy, and I don't see my family enough, though. That's mine.
Screw those little people. Take my whiskey money. Buy candy.
It does get expensive.
I don't know. I mean, I would argue that it's cheaper than buying Christmas presents for the most part. Depends what candy you're buying, though. Of course,
kind of depends on your family's Christmas.
Candy corns, man.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to get the candy corns.
We do where you get all the adults get assigned somebody. We do kind of Secret Santa style, but I think everybody ends up knowing who they have, so it's not that great of a secret.
Peace out, great show. Kyle's like, this show's over.
Bye, Kyle.
Bye, Kyle. You drinking? All right, so the way I look at it, Halloween is fun because people get to dress up, and let's be honest, adult women get to dress up in costumes they would never wear any other day of the year,
and probably not on Christmas.
And they exactly.
But,
so
I don't know. The ugly sweaters are getting a little sexual too.
It's not the same. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be honest, man. There's nothing like a good Halloween costume. So I'm sorry, guys. I love Christmas, but Halloween got to win it just for that reason. The costumes. Not so much the candy, the costumes for me. And I think there's a lot more cooler things happening in Halloween. But I will admit, Christmas is a season. It is not a day. Which Halloween is a day.
Some people make it their whole year, and like that's a bit much. But
Yeah.
yeah.
There are definitely some people like that lady Molly Shannon in the Santa Claus movie where she's like, I just believe it's Christmas. I don't remember.
Oh, I was talking about Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some
think for yourself.
Yeah.
Dressing up Smexy. Joe, I do not.
Smexy.
I don't think I want to see you in a Halloween costume.
See, there's the best of both worlds. Nightmare Before Christmas, which
when do you watch? The question is, when do you watch it?
Halloween or Christmas? Both. I generally watch it at Christmas. Yeah.
Well, I think Tim Burton coined it a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it is.
I watch it in Thanksgiving because it's right between the two. It's right between the two of them. I smack it in the middle because
get off the pot, Izzy, and make a decision. I watch.
No. That's where we watch it. We watch it on Thanksgiving because we believe that for us in our household, Thanksgiving is the start of Christmas.
Yeah.
For us, because we put up our tree, because we do put up a tree. We put up our tree on Thanksgiving Day. So there you have it. But that's it, man. Dracula, I love you, bro. But we have to make it. We need a winner. There must only be one. And our winner is Beckerman. Congratulations, Beckerman. You get the prize.
Also, I feel like I should have gotten credit for that Mother Riley comment because that was on the fly and I really liked it.
I think we got to give it to you because part of me feels bad that you have to do this while not feeling too good. The other thing is
that was rough.
Marks killed me.
Yeah, I feel like
I killed the audience too.
I was wondering what the hell is he saying with Marks. I was like, okay, interesting answer.
I think people just need to take a step back, revisit that in about 6 months' time, and once they've had a little bit of time to digest it, and they'll understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Maybe consult their therapist.
Marks, what is Marks? All right, guys. No more Marks. It's been fun. Thank you for such a great fight. We're gonna have to do another one sometime. But Beckerman, you are today's winner. What do you got to say for yourself?
Drac got these soft hands.
And Drax, as today's
why do you keep calling him Drax?
I always call him Drax because that's the first time. That's how I was introduced to Drax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So I like sticking to the names, the house name. So Drax, as today's loser, you get to acknowledge Beckerman. So give Beckerman some acknowledgement.
Beckerman, I acknowledge the.
You, my friend, have hit the mark.
This is weird.
Yes, congratulations.
What the hell is even that?
I love that clip.
Honestly, I would not mind a rematch with Beckerman at. I felt like maybe I didn't go all out because Beckerman is not at full strength, so I wanted to go
lowered
easy
your
on
abilities.
Him and
you decided, you know what, Beckerman's not there, so I'm gonna go down a level just to make sure that he. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to talk Marks,
Skeletor to King Randor! Skeletor to King Randor! Come in, you royal boob!
But yeah, no, I'm. Thank you, Izzy, for having me, and I was actually really happy to. I was really happy to hear that it was Beckerman I'd be facing because
I was too. Like when he was like, "Well, would you want to come on?" Because I had to reschedule. I was supposed to be on the first night against Cliff, and I had to reschedule, and he had somebody in reserve, so it worked out.
Mm-hmm. It was
actually he said, "Hey, would you want to face Drac?" I was like, "Yeah." Like,
did you also notice how we were respectful and acted like gentlemen, as opposed to say Seabizzle and Cliff, who I watched that episode, and you know, I
That was a good
think I
first
understood
episode.
about 10% of what they were saying because it was
Well,
just,
we had
it was
to
just
change
noise.
it up. It was the first fight.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun to watch them talk
I'm
over
not
one
going to say it
another.
wasn't fun, but they're savages. What can I say?
Brutal.
Well, let's be
yeah.
honest. We're Cliff's a savage. Seabizzle,
Yes.
he was just trying to.
He was trying. I know he was
but
trying.
He held his own for a while.
He did.
He
He
definitely
did.
held his own for a while. I will
with
admit to
two
that.
apathetic guys like us, Drac, nobody was going to try.
Yeah, I didn't think that was going to happen.
Habitual non-triers.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish this off. Beckerman, as the winner, you get to go first. Let the world know where they can find you.
Tuesdays, Hucklebuck. Thursdays, Papa Wheelie Wrestling. Friday, you should check out Biggie Shaq's Club. And Sundays, Bleeker's Church.
Actual Dracula. Let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me Actual Dracula here on YouTube and Instagram. And if you are in Southern Ontario on August 17th, I will be at the Main Street Minicon being run by none other than Retro Rocket Comics. And it's a little mini-con out there. I'll be tabling there. Be some other great guests as well, including our own Chris the Comic Vet. So I'll be sharing a tent. I'll be tent buddies with Chris at this.
Tent
show.
buddies.
Yeah. So that should be a lot of fun. I'll be selling original art and sketch covers and prints and things I've made marks of my own on. You got to come and see how many marks I've made, and maybe we can strike a deal.
I need some Dracula art.
Yeah.
He's gonna charge you by the mark.
That's right.
I'm well aware.
Okay, just be forewarned. Anyway, guys, I just want to say thank you one more time, but we do have a group of people that want to say thank you as well.
I think this is it. I think you're about to go home. Okay. Thank you.
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 Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I never said thank you.
And you'll never have to.
Thank you. I guess I'll see you.
And that's been Comic Fights. See you next time. Excelsior.